Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
That's what I always say. You follow the money. Here we are, live downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. This show is brought to you by DraftKings, a fun 3-hour program lined up. Good guests on the program today. Adam Chernoff a little bit later on, breaking down all 6 games that we have coming up in the NFL playoffs. We have Indiana Jet in 90 minutes. He was one of the 4 people to win Circa Survivor and take home, well, after taxes, $2 million plus. And Tony Rizzo coming up, ESPN Cleveland. We'll get Browns, Texans, a breakdown from him in 30 minutes. Still felt a little strange last night with no Thursday night football. But, Pauly, there is always a story every day that we come in here and every weekend in the NFL. And the story, of course, for tomorrow and Sunday happens to be the weather. And it's getting actually worse, I believe, than what the forecast was showing back last Sunday night and on Monday. When you look at the wind chill now, what it could be tomorrow night at Arrowhead, you're talking below 30 degrees below zero is what they're expecting now tomorrow night?
Yep. We are Midwest fellas. And this is, I don't want to leave the house. I can't go outside cold. This is where the dog goes out to pee and turns around and says, nah, I'll hold it. I'm not doing this. So to think you're going to play football in this for an extended period of time and try to catch passes, I mean, first things first, how do these games go over? I'm going back with Mike Palm. It's like, unless there's turnovers, who's scoring in these games? You got it's 43 now with Kansas City, and we're down to 35.5 in the Bills game, which you could be looking at 60-mile-per-hour winds and a foot of snow, which, you never know with the weather, but still, because the report can change. But this is not, you're talking about what could be the 3rd coldest game in NFL history on Peacock Saturday.
Yep, the 2 games that are colder, of course, the Ice Bowl, Cowboys-Packers, 1967, that had a wind chill of negative 48. The Chargers-Bengals game in 1982 had a wind chill of negative 59. So
that's closed the schools cold.
Oh, no question.
That's what it was. I told that story earlier this week when the governor stepped in when I was in high school, and the entire state was canceled with school because it was 60, 70 below wind chill.
Right. If you're outside for too long and you're not bundled up enough, you could, frostbite's going to set in. You could die eventually. Who knows what could happen? I mean, you're exactly right. I mean, we would have those cold spells come in, not every single year, but every once in a while, and you're like, oh, boy, buckle in, pal, because you're not going anywhere for the next week.
Are you ready for this? My good friend in high school was Aaron Page. His dad, Jim Page, on the 2nd date, took his future wife to the Ice Bowl.
Wow.
How about that move?
Holy smokes.
But they're different people in Wisconsin, and that was, So their 2nd date, he said, let's go to the Green Bay-Dallas game for all the marbles.
People who were there?
Wow. He took her there on a date.
That's pretty...
They're still married to this day.
Okay.
And this is, but this is how... Forget about playing football for 3 hours. Why would you go to the game?
That's another great point.
I mean, this is lunacy what we're looking at here.
Now, we're not exactly football players here, but... Can you imagine what it's like to be out there on the field for 3+ hours and you're going to be getting smacked in the face for that long? And, oh, by the way, it's this cold on top of it?
Yeah.
And then you're going to just get pummeled into the ground over and over and over again? It's just got to be one of the worst combinations that you can possibly go through in sports. And it's got to suck. And, for Dolphins players, I like what somebody was saying, I think, on the show yesterday. I forget who it was. They're like, it's going to be cold for Chiefs players as well. You're right. I mean, you can't, it doesn't matter how long you live there, you're not going to get used to it. Like, if it gets to minus 40 for a week every single year, you could be 120 years old and be like, you know what? Not that cold to me. No, it's going to be freezing cold beyond reckon. Like, you're FUBAR'd.
It's FUBAR. Yeah,
I'm bringing that phrase back. I decided that this week.
Yeah, but it's a whole different ball game though, because at least you're used to something close to that in Kansas City. If it's 10 degrees for 3 months in a row, okay, and then it's now we're down to 30 below with the wind chill. If it's 70 degrees every day in Miami, 80 degrees, and now you're walking into this, it makes Cambodia look like Kansas. I mean, you're walking into a buzzsaw here. I don't see how Miami can win this game unless Kansas City absolutely vomits on themselves and there's turnovers. I mean, every single stat is they don't win in cold weather. Tua has awful numbers. I don't expect much to happen. We were talking before the show. The third coldest game on the list there is Seattle and the Vikings. You talked about this. That was the Blair Walsh game.
Yeah.
It's 10-9, and he hooks one wide left with 20 seconds to win the playoff game, and it wasn't even close.
Yep. So throughout history, again, what does a football game in the NFL in 2024 have to do with games that were played in the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s, and a couple in more recent years? Well, it's a completely different sport, obviously. Back then, it would be play tough defense, run the football. We're going to throw the ball 12 times, and we want to win 13-10. But every single game on this list of coldest games in playoff history basically had a low score to it, with one exception. The Bills-Raiders game, which was played in 1994. That was negative 32 wind chill. That score was 29-23. Like every other score. The Packers-Raiders game, that was, what year is that one now?
93?
93?
Yeah.
28-0 Packers. Vikings over the Bears 23-10. Packers over the Vikings back in the 70s 23-7. Raiders beat the Browns 14-12. You see where I'm going with this, right? I mean, there was a 21-17 game in there. There's a 27-7 game in there. The 10-9 game you brought up. And one of the highest scoring games was the one at Lambeau where it was completely freezing cold. Brett Favre's face was as red as a fire hydrant.
Oh, Coughlin's.
Tom Coughlin's face
Coughlin's face.
It was freezing off his face.
Yep.
Was like freezing off of his body right on national TV. They won that game in overtime 23-20. So every game, with the exception of like one, was a very low-scoring game.
Now, there's two things here, right? Because someone can still rip off a long run. You have a Tony play where I throw it to you and whoop right in the air.
Of course,
and it's
all
a
that
pick
can
six.
happen.
So it's just ridiculous cold. Bundle up. Why would you leave the house? But when you look at what happened Sunday, if you're talking about 60-mile-per-hour gusts and a foot of snow, forget about it. I mean, all you can do is run the ball. So I don't care how big of an arm Allen has.
No, he doesn't
What
matter.
we're looking at, what we could possibly be looking at Sunday is an all-timer in Buffalo.
Yeah,
Which now I think it's erroneous. We're on a bad run here. I mean, you got the guy in Eugene. Hey, I'm from Tuscaloosa. I have sources. Dan Lanning's in Tuscaloosa. He blows that. Lanning's watching The Bourne Identity. But, they're going to move the game. They're not moving the game. It's Friday. They're not going to do that on 2 days' notice and move a playoff game to Cleveland. I don't care how much it snows in Buffalo. But this is now, if you're looking at if all this snow and 50, 60-mile-per-hour gusts, you can forget about field goals. You can forget about throwing the ball.
Yeah.
And I cannot believe a book opened the total 44.5.
Yep.
And to me, you have to take the dog. The Bills have to win by 11 points in these conditions if that happens.
I think you're spot on. And, by the way, they're 0-7 in their last 7
That's
games.
right.
When they're favored by at least 10 points. 10s are still available on this game. You bet it earlier in the week. I think it could be 13-0 Bills.
Yeah.
Final score. Steelers do absolutely, but could be. And to your point, Paul, being from the Midwest, things change. Weathermen were hated when I was growing up. I think they were getting death threats because they could never nail it down to a T. This could be a little bit different come Sunday, but this was as of last night per AccuWeather, their website. One of the meteorologists said it's going to be a very narrow band of lake effect snow. This person said, I think we have a real opportunity that this can come right into Orchard Park on Sunday, and if it does, you're going to be looking at between 1 and 3 feet of snow. So who knows? I mean, again, we're more than 48 hours removed from that game actually kicking off, but if it's going to be that bad, I mean, if that extreme level of weather actually hits, then yeah, you're probably looking at a total here that's still too high, and it could crash come game time.
You know why we have Sunday night playoff games now? It's because of what happened in a Kansas City game, where the fans couldn't travel because you had the ice conditions. So they had to take the early game and move it tonight. And then it got huge ratings, so the league's like, wow, we stumbled into something here.
Sure.
And that's why you have that too. So if anything, maybe they move it back or up or something with the Buffalo game. But that would be absolutely 100% unfair to Buffalo to move it to Cleveland.
Oh, they can't move the game.
You cannot move a playoff game And, just move it back, move it up, move it back a day. You don't take it out of Cleveland just because of some snow.
No, you're not going
to. I think it's a nonsense report.
By the way, these are the breaks in football. It's football weather we're talking about here. This is what makes the sport so great. They play outside. You got to put up with the elements, right? You get a little bit of snow, you get some wind, you get some cold. Okay. The Ice Bowl, like you said, they're still married to this day, I'm guessing, right?
Yep.
There you go.
Yep.
A first date. Whammo. That's what we love to do here. You're not going to change this game because you might get a little precipitation. Who are we kidding here?
No, they'll still
How soft have we gotten?
Sure. Yeah, they'll have the shirts off. They'll be jumping onto tables and lighting them on fire and everything with the lunatics in Buffalo, what they do. Bills Mafia, absolutely.
I bet that first half under 18.
Yeah,
and
good move.
I was saying it all week long. I don't know how that game's going to go over in Kansas City. I got that 144.5 to the under. Here's how Miami wins the game. Mostert's healthy, doesn't get dinged up. They run the ball all day long on Kansas City.
We'll also find out what Taylor Swift's made of. I mean, do you want to go to this game 30 below? Yeah, you could say, well, you're in a suite, but still. I mean, there's a prop. What will they show first? Taylor Swift or Tyreek Hill going back with the old footage with the Chiefs? Taylor Swift is $3.
Wow.
Yeah. Do you go to the shot immediately? Probably.
Are they going to?
But what if she's like, I'm not leaving. I'm staying in my penthouse. I'm not going to the game. It's 30 below. Get out of here.
Isn't the thought here too, right? What people said immediately when that game was on Peacock, all the Swifties are going to get that app now.
Yeah, $5.99.
They're going to sign up. They're going to pay for it. So if that's the case, then would they not show her as much as possible?
I was talking to a couple of bartenders. This is going to be a fiasco tomorrow night.
No, you think?
Do we have the game? I'm not even talking about people walking in. Where's the game? I mean, it's bartenders. Do we have it? Do we have Peacock? Are we going to get it? They don't know.
Up next, win some, lose some, and the point spread in the wildcard round hasn't mattered for years. We'll explain that. By the way, it's to an 87% clip. Details coming up next here on VSiN.
Last night? Wow, winning. Or was it a rough one?
Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
Loser! You're a loser! Pauly Howard recaps the night in sports betting in Win Some, Lose Some.
Hello, the gift that keeps on giving, the Winnipeg Jets. They win again, 2-1. They allowed one goal, obviously. That's 31 games in a row where the opponent has been held on to 3 goals or fewer. That's 19 games in a row. Their opponent has gone under their team total in regulation. 18-1 if you want to count the team total under, period. Montreal got the over because it went to overtime. They've also won 8 in a row. This is real and spectacular. What a story with the Winnipeg Jets.
Is it good enough for you to get down on any futures?
I missed it. No, not at this price now.
Yeah.
I mean, between the 50-1 to win the conference, now you're seeing like 20-1 to win the cup. Lower than that now. So I think those numbers have disappeared. But a great story. And Florida's won 9 in a row. The Oilers have won 9 in a row. Seattle has won 8 in a row. The LA Kings have lost 7 in a row. A lot of streaks, a lot of stuff going on in the NHL. Nebraska, Omaha, North Dakota under 146.5 down to 142. That was a winner. Santa Clara gets it done. 3-1 on the money line. Their first win over Gonzaga since 2011. They had lost 26 in a row to Gonzaga. And they get it done. Good for them.
Yikes. Steve Nash was in the building last night. First time that he returned to his alma mater in a long time.
Yeah.
And they got the job done for the guy.
Subscribe, be part of the team, vsin.com, our radio and podcast friends. You must see these tweets and videos. They are awesome. You can always check a lot of stuff out at Pauly Does Vegas on Instagram or subscribe and see everything. Mitch is a great person. He has 2 rescue dogs. I retweeted this the other day. It got 30,000 views. Look at the Mastiff as he's in the shelter. The owner, he's curled up. He's crying,
frightened out of his mind.
Good point. Nervous. Doesn't want to be touched. Here's a. What does it say? A year later.
That one's today.
Yep. And now you see how he is now, and doing the circles and all happy. I mean, the look on his face it's so emotional to see what happens. And I was not aware of this. With the 3-3-3 rule.
Now explain this to me.
When you adopt a dog from the shelter, at 3 days, they're overwhelmed and nervous. It takes 3 weeks to get acclimated and settle in with the new owner in your home. It takes 3 months to build trust and bond with you and to know your schedule. So when you see stuff like the reasons that these people give up dogs, and then it's like, well, I adopted it, but I gave it a week and it didn't work out, so I took it back. Are you nuts? This is not a toy. I mean, you have to understand what's going on here, and that this you have to bond in what this animal is going through because the owner decided to turn their back on it and give it up. And you go back to what happened during COVID.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, it's just, people are the worst.
This is not a short-term commitment.
Absolutely.
And if you don't realize that going in, I mean, I'm sorry, but there should be some way to like get the person to like commit to something, right? When they make the agreement, take the dog home, and then a week later, a month later, whatever, I'm sorry, it's not for me. Too bad. Too bad. You're the parent now, pal.
That's right.
You signed up for it. You're not going to get it. You can't do this.
Take it back. Yeah. He didn't play. He didn't play with the kids.
Oh, you're scared of the fireworks.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's infuriating. And the other thing was Game of Thrones. When Game of Thrones was at its peak in popularity, people wanted like a husky or something that looked like a dire wolf.
Oh yeah.
Like the dogs that Jon Snow had. It's like, oh wow, huskies are tough to deal with. Okay, I'm going to give it up.
Yeah. Oh, this guy got way bigger than I thought.
Yeah, that too. Out of control. All right. On a fun note, look at the elephants robbing the orange truck here. Let's go to Africa, where the truck breaks down. The orange truck, here come the elephants. I'm going to do it. And just putting it in there and just going to town. And, we got free oranges here? It's like Homer Simpson, the episode where the beer truck spills over.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, look at this. Like, what are you going to do about it, buddy? And they're bringing their friends in. Come on, we got free oranges. Let's go. And you're just coming in with the trunk. And it's like an open buffet.
Of course.
It's a dream scenario where the truck's broken down. It's going to take a while. And it's just filled with oranges.
It's a broken ice cream machine right now.
Right,
what are you going to do about it? Come on,
right.
We need some help here.
Yeah, and look at the elephants coming in and going to town with the free snack. Let's go to Brazil. Mitch isn't familiar with the movies. This is a Star Wars float. What are these? The Imperial March? What do they call these things? But you look at these, how they set up the droids and the float with the different... what do you call it?
I'm no help here.
Yeah.
I don't even know what
I think it's an
at.
Imperial Marcher, what they call it. It's Empire Strikes Back, when they have the battle in the snow on Hoth and stuff. But this is phenomenal with how they do this with all the different types of things you have with the machines and the gadgets and the droids in Star Wars. That is an incredible all-time A+ float in Brazil that they had when they did this. That's nuts.
That is very impressive.
Yeah.
If you did not tell me that it's a Star Wars float, I would have no idea.
Yeah. But the big guy right there in the front is from Empire Strikes Back.
All right.
They lose some. The Portland Trail Blazers lost by 62 to OKC. Fifth worst loss in NBA history. In 2021, Memphis won by 73. Unbelievable.
Wow.
The Knicks +1 went off a 5-point favorite. No Luka. They were down big and lost to Dallas. The Celtics from 6 down to 2. Celtics taking money nonstop. Bucks up. The TNT had to leave the game.
They did. And I bet the Celtics in play second quarter. Was that a winner? Should I go back and look and see if that one's greater to winner for me today?
Oh, boy. And then Mazzulla didn't even bother in the second half. He sat everybody.
No, he just said, guys, this is ridiculous. Remember last year, Pauly? This is the definition of an NBA schedule spot.
Yeah.
In fact, Tom Haberstra wrote about it today in a Substack. He said that more games like this are coming.
Oh, boy.
So if you pay attention to the schedule, this happened to the Bucks last year where they had a crazy road trip. They played the Pacers on a Wednesday on the road. The next night they played the Celtics, who were totally rested, back in Milwaukee. They got beat by 40.
Yeah.
It's just like the NBA with these schedule spots.
Stupid.
It's ridiculous.
You're playing the Timberwolves. The game goes to overtime, and now you have to put this big game on national TV, and the best team in the league has nothing in the tank. If you're looking for a betting edge through the NFL playoffs and Super Bowl, we have you covered. Become a subscriber today. See all the videos, the betting splits, and the best bet leaderboard to see who has the hot hand. You get your first 30 days for only $9.99. Step up your game. VSiN.com/subscribe. Sign up now.
I don't like every favorite this week in the wildcard round, but it's scary how many of them I do like. Dallas,
Concur.
I like.
Yep. I don't see how Dallas doesn't go up and down the field.
I like. See, this might sound as square as it gets. I don't care. I like Dallas in the over in that game.
Okay.
I bet the Chiefs already.
Right.
I bet the Lions laying 3 in that game.
You like the Lions. Why?
Have you heard one person make the case for Detroit?
Very good. Good comeback.
I think Detroit is a good football team.
And it's going to be a great home field advantage.
And what's getting lost is how hot the Rams are. I don't disagree. The Rams are a great story,
Yeah.
and that team might be the team that could give the Niners, who knows, their biggest run.
You like the Browns?
I can't land on that game.
Flacco fever. Come on.
I got nothing on that
No?
game, but I do
All
like
right.
the Buccaneers Monday night a little bit. I like your bet with the Bills as well. But
Steelers split the points, or
yeah, Steelers in the points.
that's yeah.
This is in the VSiN Daily today,
Mm-hmm.
and Steve Mackinnon wrote about it at vsin.com. Did you realize, Pauly, that the point spread going back, just pick the winner again, right? It's 58-9-1 ATS, last 68 games. That's 87%.
Incredible.
That means that if the Cowboys were to win the game against Green Bay, based on the history here, it's unlikely, like in these spots, Green Bay would not cover the spread. Like it would not be
Yeah.
a 24-20 game.
Yeah, great stop by Mackin. And also, we've talked about this many times here in the 6 years we've been part of the network. The 3-6 game in this round usually goes under, and it has been gold for years. So the 3-6 game, which hard to get there, I guess, with the Rams and the Lions, should be an aerial circus. But the 3-6 games have gone under at an insane clip, going back as well.
Now,
Go ahead. I was going to say something on Stafford.
Go ahead.
Stafford, in his career, against teams that finished the season with a winning record, 33-6, over 500, 33-67 straight up. Also, Stafford career as a dog, 29-74 straight up.
Ooh.
1-9 straight up the last 2 years. He's also horrible when you put pressure on him.
Right.
So that's the case for Detroit, and that place is going to be a madhouse finally hosting a playoff game.
those numbers that we just pointed out, by the way, where this point spread hasn't mattered over the last 68 games in the wild card round, basically, again, it doesn't really, is that going to translate to this weekend? Who knows? We'll have that discussion on Monday. But in the history of this going back now, the last 68 games, if the dogs are winning outright like they have, meaning the point spread again doesn't matter, if you're going to be on a dog, that means that you think they have to have a chance to win the game outright if the point spread hasn't mattered. So betting the Steelers, like again, if this holds up, that would tell me that they would have a chance to win this game.
Yeah.
If it goes like it has now in the past. Again, if you think Green Bay is going to cover the 7, that means you think they have a pretty good chance to win the game outright. You're not hoping for a backdoor cover.
Eagles lose and they're blown out. Would you bring back Sirianni?
There's a lot of steam about that
How about
now
that?
possibly happening.
They went to the Super Bowl last year. They're
Yeah.
up 10 in the second half. He's going to be gone?
Well, what are we
Oh.
missing here? Like, is it like...
Maybe he lost the locker room.
That's
I
what I'm
don't
saying,
know.
like-
if he lost the locker room, that's something you have to look at.
The body
But
language has been terrible on
to
the
think
team.
about that. I mean, the guy's going to go from almost winning the Super Bowl to be gone 2 years later.
Yep. Tony Rizzo on the show up next. ESPN Cleveland. How much stock should bettors be putting into Cleveland's bad defensive numbers on the road? We'll ask him next here on VSiN.
Start your morning with a daily dose of winning strategies, insider tips, and the latest buzz with the free VSiN Daily newsletter. Expert analysis and the latest odds delivered straight to your inbox. Absolutely free. The latest podcast. If you miss our show, listen to the podcast as well. All the top reads, odds, and trends. Get it now, vsin.com/newsletter to subscribe.
All right, so the lid lifter to the wild card round this weekend. Tomorrow, the first game is Houston hosting Cleveland, and the Browns are a 2-point road favorite. The total is 44.5. The legend himself, Tony Rizzo, ESPN Cleveland, joins the program. He is live in Houston at the game tomorrow. It's good to talk to you again, friend. How you been?
Fellas, great. Always a pleasure to talk to you two.
Back at you there, Tony. Now, I want to start with this. Everybody knows now about how the Browns defense on the road is not the same as it is at home. Browns games are 8-0 to the over on the road this year, Tony.
Hello.
So they have also injuries to deal with. Questionable Denzel Ward. Grant Delpit was ruled out. Should bettors put much stock into that, in your opinion? Like how the defense performs on the road compared to how great they've been at home?
Yeah, I would say yes, Mitch, but I think it's more about C.J. Stroud this time around. Last time the Browns played the Texans, Stroud didn't play. And by the way, the Browns, everybody, even Stefanski said they're glad they're the first game. They don't want to be waiting around till Monday night to play this game. Last time Browns in the playoffs, 2020, it was COVID. No one even went. No one was even there. There weren't even fans in the stands. Mm-hmm. So we haven't really been to a playoff game since 2002. Now, I heard there's still tickets available for this game, or there were, and we're expecting a pretty big Browns contingency. But getting back to the defense, Delpit is out, but I think Ward might play. I just found that out this morning. He tweaked his knee in practice, but he'll give it a go. He might be limited. But the good thing is the Browns are used to playing without Denzel. He's a fantastic player, but he misses at least 3 to 4 games every year. So they're pretty deep in the secondary. What the Browns are going to have to do is they're going to have to get after C.J. Stroud. That's going to be their game plan here. He's a rookie quarterback. I know he's played very well. We're very familiar with him. Watch him play for the Buckeyes for 2 years. But the Browns are going to try and get after him and make him look like a rookie quarterback in this game. We'll see if it happens.
I just don't understand how this can happen, though. And you've been a fan and you've covered sports a long time. How do you give up 13 points a game at home and 30 on the road? And you couldn't slow down the Colts. I mean, 30, 36, 29, 31, 38, 31, 20. How do you give up all these points on the road when you're that good defensively?
Yeah, their home field advantage is real. They went 7-1 in Cleveland this year. So whatever it is on the road, they're going to have to get it fixed because they're going to be on the road for the playoffs. There's some weird scenario where they would get a home game later in the playoffs, but they're going to be on the road and they're going to have to deal with this. I think Schwartz is going to dial something up that's going to confuse the rookie here. I trust Jim Schwartz, the D coordinator, who, by the way, fellas, said that he would be open to talking to teams about being a head coach again. 2 things against him. He's older. In the NFL, you got to be 30-something anymore to get hired. You see all the guys retiring, Pete Carroll and Bill. They're older than me. But he said that he would be interested again. This game, guys, comes down to Flacco fever.
Yeah.
Mitch, Pauly, people are sending us songs. We're going to do our show here in about an hour from Houston, and people are sending Flacco songs. The first one was Flacco Fever to Saturday Night Fever. And now we have like 35 Flacco songs in our library right now. That is no lie.
35? I thought you were going to say like 7 or 8.
Yes, parody to everything. Flacco's back. He's in attack. ACDC. It's hysterical. Cleveland is going absolutely crazy for Flacco. Yeah.
Okay, well, it's a great story, obviously. 4 consecutive games with a minimum of 300 yards passing. The touchdowns have been there. Are you concerned about the INTs continuing for him and the turnover-worthy plays? But I would also think, right, Tony, the game plan here is not going to change, right? They're not going to all of a sudden turn into a running game. This is going to be Flacco going bombs away, I would think.
Absolutely. Guys, I know the over is in play here. With Flacco, in the 5 games of Flacco, what's the total? 40, what is it? 40
44 and a half.
Yeah. With Flacco, the 5 games, I think they're averaging plus minus 53 points for the game. So that should fly over. And yes, the Browns are going to go. Cooper's healthy. He rested this week in practice, but he promised to be ready to go. And Njoku has just taken off. I saw his prop at 55.5, and boy, you would think that would go over the way Joe finds him. Flacco's finding these guys. Plus, the Browns now have the ability to go down the field. Even with Watson in there, when Watson looked good against Baltimore, then he got hurt. But even then, the Browns weren't going down the field, and they were running the ball more. I think Stefanski and the Browns are chucking it all over the yard tomorrow.
C.D. Lamb said experience is everything. Do you think it's a huge deal in the playoffs and the fact that this is old hat? If they win tomorrow, Flacco has more road playoff wins than Tom Brady. Yeah,
and that's the thing. Stefanski had, I think there's 6 players and a few coaches who played in a Super Bowl. So when the Browns, they lost to the Bengals, they sat everybody. The next day they came in. Stefanski, who was Mr. 1-0, had the 6 players who went to the Super Bowl address the team and tell them what it takes to get the Super Bowl. Then they went back to now it's 1-0. So, yes, the experience factor is there. And Joe Cool on the road in the playoffs, boy, those numbers are unbelievable. Guys, can he keep this up?
Yes.
That's what we've got to – that's what we're going to find out. Because, the line, I think, is perfect. I think the Browns should be a very slight favorite. I think this game will be pretty close.
Well, how about Amari Cooper, who set the franchise record in the first game? He's in the 70s.
They love him.
Yeah, well, how about, does Cooper have 100 yards and they win? That's plus 385. He's also 9-1 to score 2 touchdowns, and Njoku's 12-1. So these are the 2 guys that are supposed to eat and go off, right?
Yes, I think if the Browns are going to win this game, yes, Flacco's got to throw for round 3, and Cooper's got to have a big day. Njoku's got to have a big day. If that doesn't happen, there's not a lot left there. The Browns' run game, they're using the run off the pass. It's a pass-first offense, and if you like the Browns in this game, I would take over on those props.
Yeah, and by the way, not only can Flacco surpass Tom Brady most playoff road wins ever for a quarterback, so he's got that experience on his side compared to C.J. Stroud. DeMarco Ryans did a great job. I don't know who's going to win Coach of the Year. I think it's going to come down to Ryans and Stefanski. Stefanski might actually have more votes to win it. But how much of an edge do you give him for being in Cleveland and winning Coach of the Year and being in a playoff game compared to Ryans? This is the first time ever for him.
Guys, I thought Kevin Stefanski learned how to be a head coach this year. And I know Jim Donovan, who is the voice of the Browns, a legendary guy here in Cleveland, he comes on the show. He agrees with me. We've talked about it. He was a play caller his first couple of years, the OC. And that this year, Jim Schwartz took over that defense, and Kevin learned how to be the head coach. He has gotten this team ready to play. I think he has an advantage over Ryans as a rookie head coach. As far as Coach of the Year goes, I'm hearing Ryans might pull this out. I don't know what you guys are hearing, but it's pretty close.
I think it's going to be close. I also saw somebody put in a vote for McVay, who has a vote yesterday.
Oh, really?
Well,
First
believe
overall.
me, he's done a hell of a job. He's done a hell of a job out there. But as we were talking before we went on, guys, about, if the Browns were to win this game, there's a good shot they may have to go to Baltimore.
Right.
And I've seen all the national people talk about, well, who's the team that could go in and beat Baltimore? Well, the Browns are a division opponent. They already went in and beat Baltimore this year. It was with Watson. But they know how to play there. Lamar has to lose the stigma of only one playoff win.
Yep.
And I think the Browns would have a chance, but they got to get past. Weird things happen this week. Guys, we're going to have one or two upsets. You know that. It's going to happen. It happens every year. We're just praying in Cleveland that it's not going to be the Browns. We're neurotic, by the way, fellas. Don't think for 1 minute. Browns fans are confident. We're all having fun, but deep down in your soul, you know that it's still the Browns and anything can happen.
Well, if you're neurotic going into this game, I mean, if you want to get ahead of ourselves for a second here, if they do win under that scenario and they go to Baltimore, I can't even imagine what it's like next week to be in your city.
Oh, we love it. It's, the Browns in the playoffs doesn't happen a lot, guys. So this is a real treat for everybody. And as I said, we're going to have some fans here in the stadium tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, enjoy it, my friend. Thanks so much for the time today. We really appreciate that.
All right. I'll be for the Super Bowl, I have to come in studio for a couple. I'll just come from the blackjack table. How's that?
Okay, that'd be great. Sure.
Out from the clubs.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Can't wait, fellas.
Thank you.
Wait.
Neither can we.
Oh, man.
Love that idea.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
This is wild. I mean, how are you so good at home and the worst in the league on the road? You're giving up 30 a game on the road. Now, you throw out what happened the first time. He's right. Stroud didn't play. Will Anderson didn't play. It was Keenum and Mills. But the one takeaway was certainly what Cooper did to him as well. But you also had the week off. You didn't play anybody last week. And Houston's fighting for their lives on the road against the Colts to getting out of there too. But they're also playing with house money. No one expected this. We're supposed to make the playoffs. They're 250-1 to win the Super Bowl.
Not even, forget before the season started.
Yeah. We're going to win 6 games?
Midway through the year.
Yeah, right.
Again, Jacksonville was a gigantic favorite to win that division and make the playoffs. Up next, we'll get into props for wildcard weekend. Multiple people have reached out to me and said, you know what, I like this 7-1 shot for the playoffs. I'll tell you who it is coming up here on VSiN.
Great job, Johnny Avello. He was hanging out here yesterday. He wanted the free donuts. What a job at DraftKings. The menu will blow your mind with all the props. Super Wild Card Weekend. Official sports betting partner of the NFL. Bet $5 on any game. Get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Get that DraftKings account now and get that bonus. Tell your friends. Download the app. Use code VEGAS. Code VEGAS. DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours.
I have spent a lot of my week on the website for DraftKings or their app looking at all the props because that's how many they have. Now, this is the one, it's actually moved a little bit now, but I had multiple people reach out to me and say, take a look at most passing yards for the entire playoffs. And then they said, doesn't Brock Purdy 7-1 look pretty attractive?
Yeah.
Now he's down to plus 475. If you shop around, maybe there's still a 7-1 or so lingering around.
Hopefully, fingers crossed, they go to the Super Bowl.
So if you're going to be betting, if you want to, that's the thing, right? To bet the leaders or to bet, for example, there's another one here on Patrick Mahomes that I'll get to coming up in a few moments. Like how many rushing yards is he going to have? Not in just the game on Saturday, but overall for the playoffs. You have to find teams, Pauly, that with only 2 teams getting a bye week, right? So is there anybody that you think that you have conviction on that could actually win on the road in a title game and go to the Super Bowl, making it 4 playoff games?
Joe Flacco.
Okay, so then there you go. So then you would be,
that's it.
You would look at him then for most passing yards.
Yeah, well, that's the guy you can make a case for, but that's hard to do. I'd rather have Purdy. Because first things first, Tony's right. You got to win this game. It's not like you're a 10-point favorite tomorrow. And then you possibly have to go to Baltimore. But it's also, do you see someone from this round making a deep run? Let's say it's Allen. He's walking into how many yards is he going to throw for? If it's 60-mile-an-hour gusts.
Oh, I love his rush. I bet his rushing attempts
right.
over right away this week. I love it even more now.
So yeah, he could have an extra game, but he might throw for 100 yards and that's it.
I'll give you 2 guys here. They might not get the extra game because I don't know how many people are going to like Dallas's chances if they go to San Francisco. But look at the first 2 games here potentially for Dallas in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Green Bay's defense, and Paul Charchian was on the show yesterday and had an amazing breakdown on the matchup for both quarterbacks and CeeDee Lamb. If you missed that segment, you can go back, search Follow the Money, wherever you get your podcast. He was in the 3rd hour of the show yesterday. Great breakdown by Charch. But the Cowboys could go Packers and then Lions in the second game with that defense.
Yeah, or you could there's a scenario where you play Philly.
Sure.
That could happen.
So
they'll light them up.
If that were to happen, and then maybe even Dallas goes to San Francisco and shocks the world and beats the 49ers, well then forget about it. I think the Cowboys are going to cash all these props. Dak's number overall is not going to be, attractive enough maybe for some people to bet on, but that's what you're kind of looking for. And CeeDee Lamb could go nuts in the first 2 games.
He's got to go off. So do you like him? Let's start with what happens this weekend. They are the favorites at DraftKings to lead with most passing yards and most receiving.
Wow.
I mean, CeeDee Lamb, we got numbers coming up. CeeDee Lamb should go bananas. Alexander got hurt in practice now, and the Packers are atrocious covering inside the numbers, and Dak eats over the middle. Mm-hmm. I mean, and what Paul said about CeeDee Lamb in the slot. So he's plus 330. Dak's plus 450. But then again, Sunday night could be madness too with what happens in that game.
Well, you're going to be looking at the games where you're going to have good weather, played indoors. Those are 2 of the games.
Yeah, but it's interesting. Achane is the favorite to have most rushing.
Well, that actually does make some sense to me, though, right?
Because he can't throw. It's so
probably not going
cold.
to be able to throw that much.
He's plus 250, and Williams is 3-1. Jones is 7-1. White's plus 850, and then you got. I mean, that sets up beautifully for Cook, though, doesn't it? If you can't throw in Buffalo.
How about Josh Allen?
Josh Allen, good point. He is 60-1.
60-1 most rushing yards this weekend.
I could see it. If crazier things have happened.
Yeah,
maybe.
If we get that, if those conditions that we're kind of hoping for here.
Yeah.
So here's one on how many games do you think the Chiefs are going to play in this year?
God.
It's tricky to figure out, right?
That's a tough one. Do they go to Buffalo and win? I don't know.
Because Patrick Mahomes, his overall rushing yards prop for the entire playoffs is 40.5. If they beat Buffalo, let's say this happens, right? And they get Buffalo, they beat the Bills, and they get a 3rd game, he's going over. But that's the biggest dilemma.
He go over 2 games.
Yeah, no, he could, right? And I went back and looked. Now, he has a longer sample size than most quarterbacks at this point, albeit still a small sample size. But overall, in his career in the playoffs, in year number 1, he was not rushing that much. They only played 2 games. He only had 19 yards on 5 carries. That was it. In 2019, he had games of 53, 53, and 29. In 3 games, he had 24 carries for 135 yards. The pandemic year, he had 33 yards rushing in the blowout loss in the Super Bowl. Again, 3 games, had 52 yards overall. The year after that, he had a game of 69 yards rushing. 1 game. That year, he had 13 carries for 117 yards. And last year, en route to another Super Bowl win, he had 44 yards in the game against Philly in the Super Bowl and had 60 yards overall in 3 games. And when you go back and look at what did those big rushing games have in common, games in which they fell behind in. And so he's going to drop back to pass a lot, and then if he doesn't see what he likes, he's going to scramble. And the scramble rate went way up, and that meant, his rushing attempts also, his rushing yards would go over. And that, by the way, he started doing that more after his first year. Because in that game against New England, when they lost that playoff game in his first ever season as a starting quarterback, he was not running the ball that much. He did not take off. But he's learned how to get it going since then. So if you just told me that they're going to make it to a third game, absolutely 40.5 would be like a suitcase bet.
Yep, all that's up there. You get lost in that. And the high, I mentioned what happens for most rushing, receiving, and passing. You have high-low with the teams as well. Mm-hmm. You also every team kick a field goal. Yes, plus 550. How do you normally? I'd be all over that. How do you kick a field goal in Buffalo if it's that bad? You can't.
That's a great handicap. It's a great question. Because what if, again, you're talking about every possible scenario here, could be a fumble, right?
I guess at 29, 26 yards you could do.
Yeah.
That's doable, but that's okay. So that's plus 550. Well, every team.
The one that you love to bet. Longest field goal of the game.
That's what I'm. Yes. Oh, yeah. Remind me. Absolutely. That is, it's usually like a 47, 46.5.
Yeah, well, they're not going to.
Circa they put that up too. Every book puts that up. I mean, you can't do it. It's lunacy.
Yeah.
Well, every team have a passing touchdown. Yes, 10-1. Rushing touchdown, 40-1. Will every team score 10 points? At least 10 points, 2-1.
Oh man,
10 points? I think that's a yes. I like that.
Even in the bad conditions.
Yeah, 10 points. Yes. Will someone score 50? 9-1. Will a team score 40? Minus 130.
Minus 130 will. Wow, I was actually going to say I'd look at that one, but you got to.
Big difference there. Will a quarterback throw for 400 yards plus 225?
I can see that happening, but I don't want to. I would rather have a number that's higher than that. But
shut out
because
shutout 10-1. Non-quarterback to throw a touchdown 3-1. Tough one, right?
Yeah, that's gonna be one where the public's gonna bet it all.
I like this. Cooper has 100 yards and the Browns win plus 385. Kelsey has 100 yards and the Chiefs win 7-1.
Oh, I would not bet
Can't
that.
do it. Kelsey's been great in the playoffs. Mahomes throws for 300 yards and the Chiefs win 5-1. Can't do it with the elements.
How much is he going to be passing?
I know. Can't do it. If Nico Collins 100 yards and the Texans win plus 520. Who will they show?
That actually might look at the injuries with the Browns.
Yeah, that could be good. And he was awesome last week against the Colts. What will they show first? Taylor Swift or Tyreek Hill with Chiefs highlights? Taylor Swift minus $3. McCarthy winning the Super Bowl with Green Bay or the no catch by Dez? McCarthy minus $2.
McCarthy.
Yep. What will be higher? Flacco's age or his longest completion? Flacco's 38. He turns 39 in a couple days. Flacco age minus 150.
I'll say the completion because they keep going. We just talked to Tony Rizzo.
Yep.
He said it's basically going to be the same game plan. He takes shots down the field all the time, so you're betting on one of those connecting and it going for at least, let's say minimum 40 yards.
400 yards is tricky, plus 225, because 2 games you completely throw out. You can't throw for 400 yards in the Chiefs game or the Bills game.
Right.
But then you have what Dak could do, and then also Sunday night just could be sheer madness.
Well, that, and also you have the blowout situation possibly happening.
Right, that's possible.
Where it might not even be Dak. What if the Cowboys get out to a 28-3 lead and Jordan Love is passing on every single drop back? That's one team, for example. Maybe that happens on Monday night.
Every team kicks a field goal plus 550.
I'd rather have every team to score a rushing touchdown if you're going to take one of those.
Yeah.
You need 12 teams to score a rushing touchdown.
There's every
2 games, really bad weather.
So there's also will every team score a touchdown, and will every team get at least 10 points, which is 2-1. So you can get creative with what you want to do, and everything imaginable is up and available.
All right, it's Follow the Money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Up next, more NFL wildcard weekend. We'll tell you about an angle that's only 20% ATS since 2006. That's coming up next here on VSiN.
If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high-quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.